If you've seen any of my recent videos, you know I absolutely love to create love-themed or Valentine's Day cards. It's the hearts, the colors, the flowers, all of it just makes me so happy. Plus, unless it actually says Happy Valentine's Day, you can use that card all year round. Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca Keppel, and in today's video I am going to be sharing the latest Hero Arts My Mnthly Hero kit and add-on stamps, dies, stencils, and foil plates. This release is jam-packed with cute, elegant, and innovative designs. I created so much that I want to just jump right into the crafting, and I'll share the new products and what they're called along the way. The main kit stamp set is a 6x8 stamp set, and there are dies to go with it. There's a faux matchbox that you can create, and then there's a couple that cut out some images, but most of the dies are individual dies like these matchsticks that you can create to put either on or inside your faux matchbox. So a lot of these have to do with Valentine's Day, but they also can be used throughout the year. These little love dies are perfect. This envelope with a heart in it. There's also a 6x6 stencil in the kit, and I'm going to start with that. These daisies are shaped like little hearts. Each of the petals is shaped like a little heart, so I'm going to adhere the stencil to the paper with some pixie tape and then adhere that whole package down to my glass mat. And then I'm using some Hero Arts inks to blend in pink on the flowers and then a little bit of yellow on the center of these daisies. And when I peel that off, I have a really cute background for this first card. So I've cut the faux matchbox out of pink cardstock. All you have to do is fold these tabs back. So the little folded dashed lines are just to make it look three-dimensional. There's also a cut at the top, and I'll show you, you can put the inner box piece, which is also flat, in there, and you can have that be sliding in and out if you just adhere the tabs down to your card, which is what I'm going to do here. So all you need is a little adhesive on the backs of both tabs. I cut the stencil background down to a little less than 4 by 5 1/4. I'm going to use 1 or 2 of the stamps from the stamp set right on top of our faux matchbox. I'm going to treat this cardstock with anti-static powder tool. I'm also going to stamp a little gummy bear on some yellow cardstock. I'm going to heat emboss these with white embossing powder and heat set them, and then I can heat set the matchbox as well. It's got this cute little ingredients nutrition facts on it. I'm going to die cut that little gummy bear, and then I'll be able to put this card together. So the stencil background goes on some white cardstock. As I mentioned, just put a little bit of adhesive on the tabs, not on any of those dotted lines. Those are just to make this look dimensional. Then fold the tabs back and press it down onto your card panel, and that will make it look like a faux matchbox right on your card, and you'll still be able to slide the inner piece inside. I'm going to use some other stamps from the stamp set that say filled with love, and then I'm going to pop up the gummy bear on the box that goes in and out of the matchbox. This is such a fun set, and I can't get over how many different stamps and combinations you can create for all types of matchboxes. This is the Matchbox Fancy Die, and this matchbox is actually three-dimensional. It's very easy to create. There's 2 pieces for the box. I cut 1 out of each color. Now the top is the outer part of the matchbox. I'm going to stamp something on the bottom as well, and I'm going to heat emboss that. So this one, you'll see how it all comes together. I did die cut some matches out of white cardstock, and then I'm just going to use some alcohol markers. I have my Ohuhus, and I'm going to color in the top of the match with some red, and then I will also color the top of the red heart match with red as well. So these are really easy to create. You just die cut them out, and then I like to color them in, or you could die cut them out of colorful cardstock. I like to use the brush end of the alcohol markers when I'm coloring like this so that I can get around the edges too. You don't want to see any white peeking through, so it makes it a lot easier to get around those edges with that brush tip. I'm also going to color in the flame. There's a little flame that you can include mood on there as well. I'm going to use a light brown to color in the sticks of these matchsticks, and then I'm going to color in the rest of the flame with some yellow and try and blend that yellow and red together a little bit. Now that the heat embossing has cooled, I can show you how to fold up the matchboxes. So this is the box on the bottom, and you can see I stamped on the outside one of the edges. That's because that is going to be on the outside. So I would fold one up just to play around with it to see what you can stamp on and what you can't. So I've already created a couple, so I know I can stamp on that little edge. Once you have everything folded and reinforce those score lines, all you do is put the tabs into the box. So just fold the tabs in and then fold the ends over the tabs. So you don't need adhesive here, because what they've done is they have a small cut into the box itself, and that's what you're going to fold that long tab into. So you can see there's a notch there. You can just fold that right over the two side tabs. It'll trap those two side tabs, and then it will get stuck in the little cut on the bottom of the box. Super, super simple, no adhesive required. Love that. And you can see how I had figured out you can put the warning contains love on the side of the box. For the top, you're going to do the same thing. Just fold everything down to reinforce those score lines first. This one needs a little bit of adhesive, but there's only one tab to deal with. This is the tab. You can see this is the straight edge. It doesn't have an angle. This is the tab. Both sides have angles. So you're going to take that piece, and on the top of the tab, you're going to put some adhesive. I just used some tape runner here. Then fold everything together and place that straight edge straight onto the tab so that it lines up, creating the box. You want to make sure that the fold meets the top of that fold area so that it all folds together to create the Matchbox cover. And you can put your fingers inside, or you could fold it down on the fold line and then place it back into a Matchbox cover shape. And now we have the top that says we're a perfect match, and then warning contains love on the bottom, and that just slides right in. So I'm going to use a tiny bit of foam adhesive to put the matches inside that matchbox, and it will have the flame on one match because I'm going to adhere it down with a little liquid adhesive, and then once that's dry, I'm going to flip it over and put a little bit of foam adhesive behind it so I can pop those up, and then I'm just going to slide the whole thing inside that Matchbox cover. Super, super cute. Just a really fun way to give a Valentine or a little I love you. I created a bunch of these boxes because they're so easy and they're so much fun. Here's another die set from the main kit. So I cut out of white cardstock the shadow, and then I cut the love out of that shadow. I also cut that little twin heart out of dies from the main kit as well, and I cut this one all out in red. Here I'm going to use another stamp from the main kit, and this one says, "You're a gem." The main kit also has this kind of stamp or scalloped edge die, so I'm going to use that around "You're a gem" to cut that out. Then I'm going to cut out a couple of small pieces of foil cardstock so I can cut out a couple of gems. Put a little bit of tape runner behind "You're a gem." Take that Matchbox cover off so you can press down from the inside to the top. Make sure it's all adhered down, and then you can use a little bit of liquid glue to adhere gems on the corners to embellish this one. And again, just the cutest little Valentines. I could make these all day. They're so much fun, and there's so many different options in the main kit to change the look of the box. So I have the We're a Perfect Match with the matches, You're a Gem with a couple of gems, and then love. Next up, this is the Box of Chocolate Fancy Dies. I also love this die set. This is so much fun to create with. So I'm going to use some of the Hero Arts pearls, and I'm going to decorate some die cuts that I cut out of brown cardstock, and I'm going to add some white frosting to the top of my chocolates. So I'm going to show you how I first did this. I tried to go too fast. I tried to use too much. I kind of tried to paint it it instead of just letting it run out, and it kind of got a little messy. So I decided to cut them out again because I really liked this idea, but I wanted it to come out a little bit neater. The strawberry is really cute too. You can cut it out of red, cut it out of green, and then cut off the little stem and adhere it down to the red, and then you have the chocolate covering that you can put right on the strawberry. All right, so I cut a few more chocolates out. Now I'm going really slowly and I'm squeezing out the teeny tiniest little bit at a time, and look at how much better it looks. So maybe practice once or twice before you go full force with this idea, but if you can just really go slowly, really squeeze to just let a little bit out at a time, you can create the kind of frosting look that I was going for, and it can get a nice look on your chocolates that will also dry slightly dimensional. So this whole thing starts to look very realistic. We have the box for the chocolates there, that's that red heart shape, and a ribbon, which is the long rectangular shape, and a bow, and those little gold circles at the top. Those are the little foils that the chocolates come in inside the box. So this die set is just so cute and realistic and so much fun to play with. And the pearls are actually a perfect frosting. So I can just keep going slowly, slowly, slowly around. This one is kind of an S swerve. I had the curly Q swerve, and I had the straight lines. So I did one more of the rectangle chocolates, and these were the hardest ones to do really neatly, but I practiced and got better at it. And I'm telling you, I was very happy with the results once I took my time and really only squeezed out a little bit at a time. So this is a little bit of a labor of love, but I was so happy with the outcome. They look so cute and realistic, and they were so much fun to make. Once everything was dry, you can start adhering it together. And then I decided to use a little bit of foam tape behind the chocolates, because chocolates are dimensional, they're not flat, onto the little gold foil wrappers that the candies come in. So I'm going to add a little bit of foam adhesive behind each chocolate and then adhere it down to the foils, and then I'm ready to start putting my box together. So I have 6 chocolates. I'm going to put the ribbon down so that it's over the box or over the chocolates, and you could do 2 cuts of the heart so that you kind of have a top and a bottom on the box. I just went for the ribbon around the chocolates. So pretend that there is a plastic wrap over the chocolates, and then that foil bow goes right on top of that. I made one more strawberry so that I could make sure that all the chocolates were seen. I wanted them all to be in view, and so I moved the ribbon over a little bit, and I adore this box of chocolates. Next up is the Hearts hot foil plate. I'm going to use that to create a background for my box of chocolates. This is a great hot foil plate. It is very easy to use. I like to adhere my foil down to my cardstock with a little bit of pixie tape. Once the plate is warmed up, I remove the platform from the base because it keeps shifting my foil plate. Then I place my foil down with my cardstock taped to it, and then I put both plates on top, and then I run it through my die cut machine. I have found now that this is the best way for me to foil, and I am getting great results every single time. So check this out. Absolutely perfect foiling, no overfoiling or underfoiling, and all those cute little hearts are going to make a great background. I did the same on some red cardstock as well, and once again, perfect foiling, and it was totally straight because I pulled the platform out first. So I highly recommend, if you can do that and carefully put the foil plate back in place. You'll see me touch it because I have really crazy hands that can deal with heat, but like definitely don't do that for yourself. Use something to move it around. I decided I liked the white the best, so I'm going to cut it down to a little less than 4 by 5 1/4 and mat it on the same red cardstock that I cut the heart out of. So once I have that matted down, I am going to use the Your Mine bundle. Comes with stamps and dies. Check out that hand lettering font. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm going to treat the same color of red cardstock with a little bit of anti-static powder tool, and I'm going to stamp and heat emboss Love You, and then just brush away the excess anti-static powder with a rag or dry cloth, just so that you don't see any of it left on the cardstock. Then hold the dies in place with pixie tape and cut them out. They do cut the individual words, so you can move them around. You could have love at the top and you at the bottom. I'm going to have them both at the top, and they are both popped up on foam adhesive because you just really want to see those as well as everything else on the card. I'm going to put a little bit of liquid adhesive behind our box of chocolates. It's a nice strong liquid adhesive, so this will stay. And I can't get over how much I love this card. I had so much fun making it. Okay, those extra foil plates, I decided to make some more Matchboxes. So I made one with red with the gold foil hearts on it and a white box, and then one with a different color pink box and gold foil hearts on the pink top as well. So just, you can create them out of pattern paper, foiled paper, whatever you have. This is the stripe stencil. This is such a versatile stencil. It's great for all of these Valentines, but it's also just a really versatile stencil that I see myself using all year long. I'm going to use here some Kitsch Flamingo Distress Oxide ink, and I'm going to really make sure I color in all those stripes and it's nice and opaque and fully colored in, and I love that background. This is the Love and Floral Fancy dies. So it cuts out these big love letters. I cut them out of white fun foam. I'm going to put a little bit of liquid glue on top, and then I also cut them out of this kind of yellowy gold glitter cardstock so that I can adhere the gold to the fun foam. It will pop up perfectly, just the right amount of dimension, and I don't have to fuss around with cutting little bits of foam tape. So now I'm going to adhere that background down to a red mat. Now I cut this down at the top and bottom, so you only see the red peeking out at the top and bottom. It's just a slightly different look. I think it really works with the stripes and then with the gold for some reason. I don't know why, but I really liked it. The great thing about these stripes is you can use them to line up the letters as well. So this die set also comes with some florals. I cut those out of gold foil, so I figured they would stand out a little bit more and also just work well with the gold glitter cardstock. So we have the stenciled background, gold glitter letters, and then gold foil flowers. And everything is just getting adhered down with some liquid glue. So just give it a little time to dry. This liquid glue is Ultra Bond by Thermoweb. Gives you a little time to move things around as you're deciding. And I love the outcome. This was super simple to make as well. This is the Mini Hearts Bold Prints stamp. It is a 6x6 cling mounted rubber stamp. So I took the foam out of my MISTI and placed a 6x6 piece of cardstock down into the corner of the MISTI. And I'm using Spun Sugar Distress Oxide ink to create a nice light heart background. So that is perfect for this Loving Sentiment strips. Now you can stamp out these sentiment strips and then cut them down to actual little strips. Or this top one is shaped like a heart, and all of the sentiments kind of go together. So I'm going to use all of them on this background, and I'm going to stamp them in some black ink on that light pink background. So now I've cut that down to 4 by 5 1/4, and I'm going to mat it on some black cardstock. This was the quickest, easiest card to make, but I love the outcome, how clean and simple it is, and all those sweet sentiments on it. This is the Heart Flourish cover plate. So this actually cuts out all of these vines and the heart, but it doesn't cut out a rectangle. So I decided to cut a little bit of a border around each side so that it would fit on an A2 cardstock. And then I'm going to stamp and heat emboss one of those really gorgeous sentiments from the bundle that I showed before, and heat emboss that with Hero Arts gold embossing powder. Once that's done, you have the dies to cut those out like I shared before. I cut another of the Heart Flourish, and I'm going to cut off all the vines. So I have an extra heart on its own. So I'm just fussy cutting out those little vines, and I'm going to use some Kitsch Flamingo at first. I thought that was going to be dark enough. Probably should have gone with picked raspberry, but I went with another color of ink instead on top of the Kitsch Flamingo to give it some shading and dimension. Both inks are water reactive, so I am going to spritz them with some white iridescent shimmer from Hero Arts. That's going to add just a really pretty artistic look to that heart. And then flop over that Flourish with the heart, add some liquid adhesive on the back, and put it down on that brighter pink cardstock that I used. I'm going to pop up that center heart right over the white. You could do it a little slightly offset so that there's a little bit of white around it. I decided not to this time, and I'm going to pop up the sentiment that says love you in the middle. Now you could grab one of those sub-sentiments and put it underneath. That would be really cute too. I didn't think of that at the time, but that would work really well. This is the heart-shaped Daisies bold prints. So you can see all of the daisies petals, again, like that stencil we used, are made of hearts. I used a little bit of Hero Arts Ultra Pink ink and stamped it on some pink cardstock for a tone-on-tone look. And then I decided to try it again with Versamark ink, and I'm going to use white satin pearl Hero Arts embossing powder on top for the second time that I'm making a panel. So I'm going to pour all of that all over that panel there. I'm going to tap it off, and then when you heat set it, it's actually really cool. It creates this kind of pearlized or iridescent look. So you see the pattern, but it's very subtle, and it's just a really beautiful raised look as well. So it's got lots of texture to it, and you can see the pattern, but it's definitely more subtle than that other background. So I cut that love die. I just kept all the letters together, cut it all out of the front, and I'm going to put some adhesive behind that and then turn it into a shaker window by putting an A2 piece of acetate glued right behind that cut out piece. Once I have that window done, I am going to double up some foam adhesive so that it is 2 layers. And then I'm going to cut strips of that doubled up foam to go along the edges of this background. So what's really nice is that the cutout area is just in the center of the cardstock. So I don't have to do anything really crazy here. I'm just creating a rectangle of foam that's going to trap all the shaker goodies inside, but it can be pretty close to the top and bottom, and not so close on the sides, but just you don't have to worry about it showing because it really is going to give you plenty of room in the center for those cutouts and that window. I'm going to pour all my shaker goodies left in this bag. Remember, if you use up the shaker goodies, you're allowed to buy more. So I'm going to place that down, the top window down on the foam adhesive, and that creates the shaker. I love how you can see the darker pattern underneath those shaker goodies and that lighter pearl pattern on the top. I stamped and I'm going to heat emboss with Hero Arts Gold embossing powder 3 of the sentiments from that bundle. Once again, love this handwriting. It is absolutely beautiful hand lettering. I'm going to cut them all out. I'm going to pop them all up. Since I had more doubled up foam adhesive left, I used doubled up foam. So it says sending, and then there's the love, hugs, kisses. So this is a really sweet card. I think it came out really nice, even though there's lots of elements to it. It just all came together. You could also use white heat embossing here, silver, lots of different things to create this shaker card. So now you know that my favorite time to create cards is around this time of the year when we're getting ready for Valentine's Day. What's your favorite? I'd love to hear down in the comments below. YouTube thinks that you might be interested in watching this video next. As always, I want to thank you so much for stopping by and spending time with me today. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you again soon. Lost my train of thought. This is what happens when you sing and dance instead of work. Okay, I think we're just wrapping it up, actually.